Today's video, going from this to this, might not seem that impressive until you realize that this person actually started eating more food, doing less cardio, and lost weight. How is that possible? Hey guys, what's going on? This is Coach Paul from Pro Physique, and today's topic is the diet break. Now, I first broke down this video probably 15 years ago when I was introduced to the idea of a diet break through some research that came out of Tasmania, Australia. The idea was simple. Should we stop a deficit to improve the results of the deficit? And immediately I was met with confusion from my clients when I suggested this. Because something that you notice as a bodybuilding coach, when you coach these athletes that are very detailed, it's like coaching people that live in a metabolic ward. And if you're not familiar with metabolic ward studies, it's when they put people in a lab setting, they feed them exactly what they're supposed to eat. They track everything that they do, and they can really kind of see exactly how people respond to things. It's the gold standard for research because people are liars. And when you ask them how many calories they eat, they underreport by about half. When you ask them how much exercise they do, they overreport by about 50%. So as you can see, this is why a lot of research that includes diet recalls and feedback, it just doesn't work out right. However, when you put people in a metabolic ward setting, you get some really interesting results, and that's the gold standard. So as a bodybuilding coach, if I have an athlete on 200 grams of carbs, 50 grams of fat, 150 grams of protein, and 30 minutes of cardio, guess what? That's what they do. Why? Because they don't want to get on stage and get beat. I've had more than 100 people turn pro, more than 300 people win overall championships. I have had more than 10 people at the Olympia. I've been doing this for a long time. I've had natural world champions. I've had Olympians. So for me, I've had the benefit of working with some amazing people. And I also help people that just want to lose weight. One of my favorite requests is, hey coach, I don't want to look like a bodybuilder, but I don't want to get on stage. I'm your guy. My team can help you. Make sure you hit the link below for a free consultation. But I digress because the diet break has been undoubtedly the single greatest addition to the toolbox for a fat loss coach of all time. It is undefeated. And I'm going to break down exactly how you should do it, when you should use it, and I want to talk to you in terms of the specifics around how I was introduced. So if you're not familiar with the study called the MATADOR Study, which is an acronym for metabolic adaptations through you get the idea. It's basically a study that looked at what happened if one group of people dieted for 16 weeks in a deficit and another group of people were in a caloric deficit for 16 weeks in total, but they dieted for a total of 30 weeks. Well, what did they do for the other weeks? Well, they brought their calories up to maintenance. That's it. That's the simple study design. You had one group start a diet, and 16 weeks later, they came out of the diet. You had another group start a diet. For 2 weeks, they were in a diet, and then for 2 weeks, they weren't. And then for 2 weeks, they were in a diet, and for 2 weeks, they weren't. Now, the key here is that the research was done in people where they were actually adjusting their calories according to what their maintenance would be. A lot of people that don't understand what their maintenance calories are think that their maintenance calories are what they were when they started dieting. But there's something that's called metabolic adaptation. So you actually require less calories to keep your body going when you have less body. Losing body fat is a positive. Metabolic adaptation is not a bad thing. However, what we don't want to do is lose lean body mass so that we end up in a place where when the diet is over, we have too low of muscle, right? And then it becomes very difficult to maintain. So potentially, if you're not in a deficit for 16 weeks straight, well, you might keep more muscle. Potentially, if you're not in a deficit for 16 weeks straight, you might enjoy the gym more. You might enjoy the process more. You might learn to develop some skills that don't equal binary action of being in a diet or out of a diet. The term diet break itself is a problem. My first couple clients that I had do this took it literally to mean like, oh, I don't have to follow a diet. It's not true. We are taking a break. It should be just called a deficit break, right? We're taking a break from being in a deficit. So let's talk about the specifics around how to do it. Basically, you take someone who's been dieting. I don't recommend doing a diet break until you've been able to lose fat successfully for probably 4 weeks at least, maybe 6 weeks. and you just start to get to a place where you're a little bit hungry. And what I typically look for is when I make some adjustments, I have a client who's stalled, their diet is set, their cardio is set, their training is set, their sleep is good. All signs point to we should be making progress. We make an adjustment, nothing happens. Coach, I lowered my calories. I upped my cardio. Well, now I start to think that metabolic adaptation is playing a role. Okay, our hormones, our digestion, our non-exercise activity are all starting to fight against us. So how do we combat that? We bring our calories up to our new maintenance, whatever that might be. Now, a pretty easy way to know this number would be to be about 15 to 20% more calories than you're taking in for your deficit, right? It's not this huge glamorous break from a deficit, but I can tell you this. It can feel pretty amazing to bring your calories up by just that much. The other rule that I follow is that I cut cardio in half. So if I have someone that's do, say, 5 sessions of cardio for 50 minutes a week, well, I'm going to have them do 5 sessions of cardio for 25 minutes, right? And my favorite form of cardio is incline treadmill or something similar. I love low intensity steady state or moderate intensity depending on your fitness level. But the idea is that we're able to burn calories along with our diet. It allows us to feel good, eat more along the way. But when we do take this diet break, we simply bring the food up and the cardio down. Now, what is the real benefit of taking a diet break? Well, the research was pretty clear. The group that dieted for 16 weeks, they had a lot of success. They lost a lot of fat. They also had a lot of people drop out. The group that dieted for 30 weeks, by taking a break every 2 weeks, they lost more fat. They also had less people drop out. They also found that when they did a follow-up, they kept more muscle and they kept more fat off in the long term. So the people that were taking the breaks were actually able to sustain the fat loss. And in my opinion, that's the only metric that matters. Otherwise, we would all just do what they were doing on Biggest Loser. So in my opinion, what we would do is something that's going to allow us to be successful long term. It doesn't really matter if you get the weight off for a day or a week and then you have no ability to keep it off. You have some severe adaptations to a diet. You're burnt out. And honestly, you're just ready to eat. Whereas people that were taking a break along the way, they probably learned some skills. They learned that they could eat a little bit more with no negative impacts. And honestly, just the mental break of not always being in a diet. I've also found as a coach, when I tell somebody that, hey, we've only got a couple weeks until we get on stage, you can kind of do anything. You can kind of survive hours of cardio, low calories, when you know we just want to get a little bit leaner and win a title, win a bodybuilding title, whatever it is you're trying to win. But with a general population person, and I say, hey, we're going to push really hard for this next level, they don't sometimes have the external motivation. So these periods of saying, hey, we're going to get after it for 2 weeks and then you get a break. Cool. And then we're going to get after it for 2 weeks and you get a break. Now, as a coach, I don't do this with my clients. I typically will use a diet break sparingly, okay, because I'm including refeed days once or twice a week throughout the majority of the process. When I find that when I find that diet break days are really valuable is when body fat gets below, let's say 12 to 10% for men, 18 to 16% for women. And the recovery really just restores some hormones, some digestion, some well-being, some sleep, whatever issues you might be having from the dieting are really kind of restored. And so it can give us an extension on the process of fat loss. So yeah, the diet break is, as I've said many times, as a bodybuilding prep coach, it has reduced the percentage of people that struggle post-competition. I would say from as much as 60%, maybe probably 50% of my clients post-show would struggle in my early years as a coach to less than 5%, maybe 1%. I have very few clients that after a show struggle, okay? Especially because we're taking these diet breaks along the way, but also because we're bringing food up as we're going into our competition. But that's a whole nother video. If you guys want to know some stuff about bodybuilding, comment below and I'll do some contest prep bodybuilding stuff. That is my specialty. All right, guys. Hopefully this really helps you understand the diet break. If you want a little bit more, I'll link the study below. It's called the MATADOR Study. Talk to you tomorrow.